thing about the movie is like it feels like a movie. It feels like a real like go to the theater film movie that you kind of the reason why you go to watch something on the big screen.
I feel like this clip gets longer every time I play it. Like, I don't know if that's the case or not. It just really, really feels that way.
And
I've just been subtly looping it.
Yeah. I feel like Chris Pine is dying more and more every time you play it. Like he's just out in the world and suddenly like, his stomach acts up. He's like, oh God, did someone play that clip again?
It's like if they have the Harry Styles is Dorian Gray and Chris Pine is his portrait. Right?
Right, yeah. Just getting older and older.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'll let you guys take the front seat of this because I did not go watch The Day the Earth Blew Up yet, a Looney Tunes movie, but Josh and Jeff both did. So they're going to give you a quick review for the movie. And hopefully,
the two people that grew up on Looney Tunes definitely went and saw the Looney Tunes.
Hold on. I need to address this real quick. Leonard Kim, no, I'm sorry. I love you. You're wrong. You are wrong. But yeah, so we're gonna let's talk about this film. You guys both went to watch it. Tell the people about it. Tell the people why they should go watch this Looney Tune. Convince me to go watch it before I go watch Black Bag.
I hear Black Bag's good though, but if you want to see a great animated movie, then this is the movie you need to go see because it's like classically drawn, animated, hand-drawn movie, and it's beautiful. It's flipping beautiful. It's also very classic Looney Tunes. It's fun to hear those voice actors. It's fun to watch a cartoon where you can't immediately go, "Oh, I know who famous person that is."
Right? Because there's really only one person in it that I did that with, and I think that's just kudos to the fact that it was just a lot of really talented voice actors doing this. So sorry, Jeff, go on.
Yeah, but it's what exactly, and I mean this in the best way, but it's exactly what you would expect from a Looney Tunes movie. And it's hijinks, some very witty comedy, a lot of slapstick. Yeah, so if that's and the animation's beautiful. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's like 15 minutes too long. They do kind of rehash some of the bits a little bit too much.
I do agree with that. Yeah, it felt just slightly too long. I was thinking more like 10 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's not in fact, I went to the Alamo to see it, and the person, because they come by and they look at your tickets, they ask if you want anything to eat or drink. And then they were like, it's kind of a short movie. So if you want anything, make sure to get your order in fast because we may not have it out in time before the movie ends. But I feel like it was still like, maybe because it felt long, it felt like a sizable movie. So,
Yeah. I agree with everything Jeff just said. It is fantastic. To me, also, it's really important. I'm a huge classic Looney Tunes fan. And it was really important to me because it dawned on me, this is the first ever fully original, fully animated, theatrical Looney Tunes movie. Right? We've never had this before. In my lifetime, when Looney Tunes were in the theater, it was usually a compilation film, right? So they would take classic shorts and then have interstitial new bits to kind of link them together, which is fine. Those are great, but it's not fully original, right? Or we get shit like Space Jam 2, right? That's kind of like a combination.
We're not gonna dunk on Space. We're not gonna dunk on Space Jam.
I will dunk. See what you did there. I will dunk on Space Jam. I am not a fan of those movies. I do like Back in Action because I feel like it's much more.
Okay. I just don't like you lumping in Space Jam 2 with the original one. I feel like they are completely different, and how dare you?
That's fair.
I will never besmirch anything Sean Bradley is in. So that's where I stand.
Yeah, but I do feel like this movie needed to exist to prove that these characters could carry a theatrical length film, and also one that doesn't have bugs in it, which I thought was a really, really great move. Like they took this original pairing of Daffy and Porky, who are both pre-bugs, and just kind of run with it. And it's great. It's really good. The animation, as Jeff said, is beautiful. They also do some really, I think, innovative experimental stuff. There's a whole sequence where they use my favorite music ever, which is like the machine music. You know, it's the anytime you watch
Yeah,
exactly.
as soon as you, I haven't even seen the film, and I haven't watched Looney Tunes in maybe over a decade. But as soon as you said the machine music,
you knew
I knew
exactly
what you were talking about.
Yeah, and the only time I've had a movie ruined by thinking about that music is if you ever watch Kenneth Branagh's original Frankenstein, the scene where he's creating the monster, just play that music in your head and you realize this movie is fucking ridiculous. So
I bet that's
anyway,
I'm sure we could make that edit happen for you.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody's done it. I just need to search YouTube. But I do also one of the things I love about classic Looney Tunes, and in particular, like I'm a big Chuck Jones fan, and Jones did this as well. Go watch the Dover Boys, which is, I think, the best example of this ever, is using the animation style itself to make jokes. There is a gag in the beginning of the film where when Porky and Daffy are being raised by, they were found by this farmer. The way they animate the farmer is just pitch perfect, hilarious. And there's a moment where it's this very emotional moment where he's kind of leaving them, and they just animate him in a way, I don't want to spoil it, but the way they animate him, my daughter and I laughed out loud in the theater because it's so wonderfully ridiculous.
I did as well.
Yeah.
It's very SpongeBobian. I'll put it that way.
It is. And you could see, and I say this is a huge compliment, you could see in the animation style that they had a lot of people that clearly had worked on SpongeBob and Ren and Stimpy, just in the way that like characters moved and their design of them. And I say that by way of, it still felt like a classic Looney Tunes cartoon. I mean, it is so good. And the thing I also love about it is you get a lot of like classic gags where if you watch a lot of Looney Tunes, you're not going to laugh out loud. You just kind of like, huh, Yeah. And then you get some that were just so far out of left field. I was just like laughing my ass off. It's so good. It's just so good. And I want this movie to succeed. We went to the Noon show, which was, I think, the very first one, but it was kind of like how we structured our day. My daughter and I were the only people in the theater. The theater was empty except for the two of us. And it just kind of broke my heart because I want everyone to see this, because Zaslav needs to understand his decisions are stupid, right? Like they're just really, really stupid. And I do want to throw a bit of shade at the distributor that picked this up, Ketchup, which I say shade. Kudos to them for buying this and giving it a deserved theatrical release. It really, really needed this. If it had gone straight to streaming, I think that's fine, but it needed to be in the theater to prove this could carry, right? And it needs to be seen on the big screen. It's really beautiful. But for some reason, like this week, it popped into my brain. I think there was like a news article I read about the movie, and I was like, oh shit, I want to see this in the theater. So I looked up the trailer, and in the original teaser trailer, it shows the release date as being February 28th. So I'm like, oh fuck, I missed it, because I'm looking at Alamo like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like, are there any screenings? I go to AMC and I don't see any screenings. Like, did this come and go already? Like, did I miss this? And then I watched the second trailer, and it has a different release date of this Friday. And then I jumped to Friday, and I suddenly see like screenings, and I'm like, man, they really fucked this up, right? Because if you just watch the wrong trailer, you don't know it's out there. So
yeah. I'm glad they're I'm with Josh. I want more movies. I know there's that other, what is it, the Roadrunner and Coyote movie that's been shelved.
It's Coyote the Acme.
Yeah. I mean, that's been sitting on a shelf somewhere.
I know. Just release it. Get it out there. What?
I don't know. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the newer stuff that they put on Max. So like they've been producing new Bugs Bunny cartoons, and I've seen a few of them, and they're really good.
Yeah.
It is a different animation style, it's slightly more modernized, but they're sharp and funny. The other thing I enjoyed about this is to be a little bit old boomer. Like they don't Porky Pig stutters, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like you would get like in a modern movie like they don't make fun of the stutter, but they embrace it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's something that modern movies might shy away from. They might try to be like, you know, Pixar-y about it or something, but they're still able to like have fun with the stutter without making fun of the stutter.
Right.
And so there's always that kind of like, we know how to have fun with something that most of like we've all kind of shied away from as the years have gone on because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But they're okay with it, but because they know how to have fun with it, not at it. So
Yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, I have a stutter, so I tend to be very cognizant of this in movies. And I think the decision to have Petunia have a stutter as well really helped level that out, right? And can we just give props to the fact that a main character in this film is a woman in STEM? Like,
yeah, that as
I
well.
mean,
Yeah.
just, like, thank God, you know, like more of that, please. I do also, slight spoiler, did we need the origin story for Porky Pig's stutter? No. Did I love the way they did it? Yes. They do. I mean, we've never had an explanation for why he has a stutter because some people just have stutters, right? But they do explain it in this movie, and it cracked
I
me up.
very much laughed out loud when that
I did
happened.
too. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
it's so good.
Very
Yeah, there's a
cool.
lot of great lines in it too. Like, yeah, you should definitely see it, Danny.
Yeah.
All right, I will. I got a big weekend at the movies. There's a lot. I still want to watch Black Bag, Novocaine. I want to watch this.
Mickey
So I'm gonna
17
just.
is out.
Mickey
whatever that
17
I
one
did
is.
go watch that. We'll talk about it in a second.
Cool.
So just to kind of close this out, this has as of this stream, we have 87% from the critics and 86% from the critics, 87% from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. Letterbox rating is an average of 3.6. I do see Josh's review here as I'm going through my my here, and then one funny review that I'm sure you guys will probably know what it means. Joe gives it 3.5 stars and a heart. All hail the resource. So
That's my name also. You can't see it on screen, but I'm Josh the Resource Rose. Yeah, it's
okay. Okay. I'm very interested in seeing this. Also, pretty impressed. Like it's a very small cast.
yeah.
It's because Eric Bauza voices both Porky and Daffy Duck.
I know
Um,
it's an amazing feat, and I would love to see a behind the scenes if he did both separately. If he just switched it on the fly
Yeah.
while they were doing
On
the
the fly.
recording. Because
I would think he would have somebody kind of like voicing against him maybe, and then turn
Right.
around like do the other way.
yeah,
And in another connection to Space Jam, Wayne Knight is also a voice in this somewhere.
yeah.
So there you go, Josh. Suck it.
That was the one voice I didn't pick up on, and then we're watching the credits at the end, and we're watching Third Rock from the Sun right now, and I was like, oh my God, Officer Don is in this. So
And like
the credits are cool too because they show all the drawings that
Yeah.
like for each little cell and stuff. Yeah.
oh, nice.
and we
I
didn't
think
say.
it's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry, Danny. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
and I just want to say, like, I think it's cool, and studios should note this when they make animated films. I don't recognize any of the names on here really, other than Wayne Knight. So, like, you can make really cool stuff with actual voice actors that
Yeah.
maybe they don't, like voice actors. You can probably name like maybe Troy Baker. Like, you can name like the ones that do all the big stuff, right? But there's
Right.
so much other talent that's on here. So,
Yeah,
and
the one actor in it that stood out to me, and I like in the theater because this is just my daughter and I, so I'm on my phone at times. I looked up at the moment is Peter McNichol, who plays the
yeah.
alien, and his was the only voice I heard, and it's like that's somebody I know, because he does both voice work and live action stuff. So
So
I think it's also.
it's interesting.
Oh, go ahead, Danny.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say it's interesting when you mentioned that this was like the first time they do like an original film, because other countries like anime has original films of their stuff all the time.
yeah,
Like, right? So it's not that, I mean, sometimes it's things that they kind of put together like a season, but that's more recent, like Dragon Ball and all these other big things. Like they had original films that went straight to movies theaters. So I want to say that I feel like Looney Tunes is like an American, the equivalent of that is like an originally American thing, right? So it's very surprising that they never really dove into doing just the Looney Tunes on their own without like having some kind of additional gimmick or whatever. So, but Jeff, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, just to harp on, like to build upon that, which it is weird because they're already producing them as shorts for films beforehand, like way back in the day. You would think that the natural progression would be like, why don't we just extend this out? So it is kind of weird.
Why don't we just make it long?
Yeah, why don't we just make it long? But maybe because they were using them as shorts is what kept them from doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe.
I also think it's interesting that, like, I'm with Josh. I think it's an important movie to go see to prove to the studios that, you know, not everything has to be the same, that there is an audience for everything. Especially when the other big film discourse going on right now is The Electric State out of Netflix, and how people are like, this movie looks beautiful, looks great, but it is completely soulless. Like there's not like every review I've heard about this movie has been like it is the word I keep hearing is mockbuster. So it's like it is like, I forget how much they spent on it, $230 million or something.
$300
Oh yeah, $300 something million. And people are like, where is this money going to? Like, it's all like CG and stuff.
It's going through the cast.
It's a huge cast.
In the behind the scenes of The Electric State, you're gonna hear that's all you're gonna see. Just the machine putting the movie together.
Nice.
So,
that's a great call.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on the Looney Tunes film before we kind of move on?
Yeah, just please go see it. If this, because again, to your point, Danny, there have been original feature length Looney Tunes stuff, but they've all been direct to video, right?
Yep.
This is in the theater, and I think it's super important we go see it in the theater. I mean, it's going to be streaming soon, I'm sure, right? But go see it in the theater.
They do also play a bit with the theater, like they kind of, there's like a bit where they go to TV size for a little bit and then they blow back out. So it is kind of like something you kind of do want to see in the theater as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Because they kind of, that whole scene is like a little classic animated short inserted into the movie, right? So
yeah.
But yeah,
gotta pad that runtime.
I did mean to check, you know, all the classic shorts are almost always around 7 minutes. And I meant to look later and see how long was that sequence. I'm curious. I don't think it's 7 minutes. It doesn't feel that long, but I do wonder because it felt structured like an old short, you know? So
I remember from watching like Everybody Loves Raymond or something, like Frank makes a joke that they would go to the theater and they would play like a short, some news, and then 2 movies back to back. Like that was the old movie experience. You were there for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Right. But you didn't buy a ticket for like a time. Right. You just bought a ticket and you just walked in.
Yep. Yeah. And so you never knew where in that sequence you would be, right? You could be halfway through the feature and not know. So
theater's like a box of chocolate. You never know which movie you're gonna get. All right.